Welcome to a vaguely familiar podcast, guys. My name is Nazar Sayed. We are doing a backward point edition of the podcast. As I said before, my name is Nazar, and with me is my brother and co-host
Bashaar.
And a very, very, very happy, well-beaming man right now.
I'm so happy. A lot of people say, my heart feels full.
Yeah.
This has been one of the most happiest 10 days for me.
Yeah.
As a Pakistan cricket fan, as a die-hard Pakistan cricket fan.
Yes, sir.
And I can't even begin to imagine where we were 10 days ago as to where we are right now.
Yes. And I just, before we get into like the whole emotional side of this week that has been Pakistan cricket's week, let me just quickly rewind what happened, right?
The last time that we were on the podcast, we were discussing Pakistan's combination, the 4 changes that were made, and we were unsure whether this team can click at the international level or not.
We were very doubtful.
Yeah.
And look at us now, eh?
Look at us now. Look at us now. Look at that Chris Pratt, that gif from Chris Pratt.
No, Paul Rudd, right?
Paul Rudd. Sorry, they look alike. Sorry.
From the Hot Ones. Right?
Yes,
look at us now.
Look at us now.
This is exactly what I mean when we were talking about how Pakistan team was completely unpredictable. This team, from nowhere, has become the first team in the men's ICC Cricket T20 2021 to qualify for the semifinals.
Unbelievable.
Unbeaten in this tournament, right? As we were talking about the rewind, Pakistan beat India by 10 wickets. Pakistan beat New Zealand by 5 wickets.
Yes.
Pakistan beat Afghanistan. I forget how many wickets.
And then we beat Namibia as well.
How many wickets did we beat them by?
Afghanistan?
I don't have this in my notes.
I think by 4 or 5 wickets.
Sure, 4 or 5 wickets, and then we beat Namibia.
I mean, so as someone who understands cricket, as someone who's been following Pakistan cricket, we talked about this, that we would be going to the semis.
Yes.
But I predicted 4 out of 5 wins against every team aside from India.
Yep.
I mean, because it's logic, right? UAE is Pakistan's backyard.
Yep.
You expect us to do amazing here. We know the conditions. We have cut for role players who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
A great opening partnership
that didn't end until the next game.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I feel like we're going all over the place. Let's go game by game, right?
Yeah.
It's the first game of the tournament for Pakistan, first game of the tournament for India. They're both playing each other, arch rivals for, I don't know, God knows, 50 years, however long they've been playing cricket. They're in UAE, where India has just played a whole season of the IPL. They're fresh off. They know the pitches. They know the structure, the dew factor, whatever, right?
They're in form.
They have Kohli leading them, arguably one of the greatest cricket players of all time. Definitely of our time. A lot of expectations on India to like seal this. Like Pakistan has never beaten India in the World Cup. We've tied once. We've never beaten them. We've lost the final to them. It was a lot of expectations on India's shoulders, and they choked.
Yeah, I mean, walking into the tournament, India was favorites.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody was even giving Pakistan a chance. If you listen to all the commentators who are predicting the final, I think except for 1 or 2, everyone said India. And I would say so as well. Like, India was favorites because their team on paper, was so strong. It's like you think of how the hell are you going to beat this team? But cricket is not played on paper. Cricket is played on the pitch.
Yep.
And I think on both days where India lost against Pakistan and New Zealand, they just looked off color, so much under pressure.
They looked like
under the weight of a lot of expectation.
This is very, very weird to compare an Indian side to a Pakistani side just by the nature of it. But they looked very akin to a 2015 Pakistan cricket team of the 2015 World Cup, where they had legends like Misbah and Afridi, and even Yunus Khan was in that team, but they choked. And the same thing in this World Cup, where they had legends like Kohli and Rohit Sharma and like KL Rahul and Jadeja. Like, these are T20 specialists, and they were nowhere to be found. And it was just an abysmal performance for them. I mean, we live streamed the whole thing, and you can check it out. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, you can check the live stream out, and you will see the ecstasy on our faces after every wicket.
Real-time reaction.
After every wicket, right? After every, when the total was posted, after Pakistan started batting, and then it was just like, after like the 15th over, we were like, yo, we might actually win this with 10 wickets to spare.
I think so. You mentioned how India choked, and like there's many ways how somebody can choke.
Yeah.
But I think in this position it was Pakistan who like physically strangled them.
Yeah. Like the demolition. You said it on the live stream.
It's not like they're eating a cherry and they're like, oh, I'm choking. No. It's like we made the scenario as such where they had no idea, like no option but to choke.
Yeah.
Right. That opening spell from Shaheen Afridi.
Insane.
Right? I mean, when the game started, I saw KL Rahul facing, and I told you then, I'm like, this is unusual, right? Rohit Sharma usually faces the first ball, and he is so scared of the in-swinging ball that he chose not to face.
Yeah.
But
because he's been trapped there many a times by Pakistani bowlers.
But to Rohit Sharma, dread it, run from it. The in-swinging ball from the left-hand Pakistani bowler will come and bite you.
Yeah, that's very well said. It's exactly what happened. And
you could not like design a better ball to get Rohit Sharma out.
You know what's funny too? Like after that first and second over, Shaheen's ball did not swing at all.
Except for that ball to KL
Yeah,
Rahul.
that was the second over. That first and second over.
And it seemed.
Yeah.
I've seen that ball to KL. Okay, first of all, which ball did you like better? Did you like the ball to Rohit Sharma or did you like the ball to KL Rahul?
Okay, I like the ball to Rohit Sharma better.
Okay, I like the ball to KL Rahul only because like I've seen that ball so many times in slow-mo. I speed it up and I go back and play in slow-mo. And if you pause the frame at a point where the ball is in the air, it's about to touch the ground, you can almost see that KL Rahul is going for a drive. He's going for a cover drive.
Yeah.
And that ball pitches middle and it knocks over the middle peg.
Yeah.
It's a dream delivery.
It's a beauty.
And KL Rahul was on a purple patch. He scored so many runs in the IPL.
Yeah.
Like every innings was 50, 60 at a good strike rate.
Yeah.
And I think India's team was just overrated, right? I think if you look at all the big games in the past, you will see that because India banks so much on their top order, that whenever they flop, they just have no idea how to get out of that hole.
Which is a weird thing because we kind of are in the similar position right now that where our middle order isn't tested. Well, now it is but we were so scared after that first game after the Indian game, that because our openers did the whole thing, how will our middle order react? And it was very, very comforting to be like, oh wait, Malik and Hafiz are still there and they're like kind of structuring the innings, and then Asif Ali comes in and he just does his thing. And it's just like that is how in the Indian batting used to be, which is really weird. I'm telling you, these are weird times where we're comparing Pakistani batting of now to how Indian batting used to be.
Yeah.
This is not normal.
But I think what hasn't changed, and we were talking about this in the live stream as well, that India versus Pakistan games have always been a game of Indian batting versus Pakistan's bowling.
Yeah.
And you feel like over time it has evolved because India has great bowlers now, right?
Yeah.
They have Bumrah, they have Shami, all these guys can bowl quick and swing it. But, 2021, we're still here. The battle has always been, and I think it will be, India's batting against Pakistan's bowling. And time and again, Pakistan's bowling has proved that, they can knock down any sort of top order.
Yeah.
And India, they've proven that, once their top order flops, their middle order and lower order is so vulnerable. You look back at the 2017 Champions Trophy final. You look back at the 2019 semi-final against New Zealand. You look back at the 2021 final of the World Test Championship, and you see India's batting crumbling, right?
Yeah. After
it's like a house of cards. But watching that game against India, it was so hard to believe that we were actually watching this. This win in particular was 30 years in the making.
Yeah.
The scorecard before this match was 12-0. Pakistan had never ever beaten India in any sort of World Cup matches.
Yep.
Beginning from 1992 up until 2019.
And we were lucky number 1, lucky number 13.
Yeah, what Wasim couldn't do, what Waqar couldn't do,
what Imran Khan
couldn't do, Babar Azam and his team has done it.
I remember when Babar Azam was nominated as the captain, it was people were like, he's done for. His
batting is going to be affected.
Yeah, his batting is going to be affected. He's not a good. He's not a good captain. He's defensive. He's basically a pawn for Misbah and Waqar. Like this is just so. Like this is disrespectful, even to the point. Look at us now.
I actually think he was acting as a pawn for Misbah and Waqar, and you can see the drastic change in his captaincy once they've left.
Yeah, let's talk about the captaincy for a second. I'm glad you mentioned it. Very, very proactive captaincy. Very aggressive captaincy.
Smart bowling changes.
And smart bowling changes. Great fielding placements. Like, we have been following Pakistani cricket for 15 years and we are used to the Indi captaincy, which is kind of lazy, kind of reactive. Afridi captaincy, which is aggressive but dumb. Misbah's captaincy, which is, again, very safe. Like, you know, I'll take a risk here, I'll take a risk there. Otherwise, we're playing by the book. This Babar Azam captaincy feels like we've been ushered into a new era. Like, literally grabbed by Babar and be like, okay, we are taking you into the modern day cricket. It's going to be me and Rizu opening, and we're going to show you how it's done.
I agree. And if you heard Babar Azam's speech after the game against India in the dressing room, this man is on a mission.
Yes.
He is on a mission. He told everyone, calm down. This is only a part of the job done.
Yeah.
What does Kobe say?
Job's not finished.
Job's not finished. So
Job finished? Job's not finished.
These guys are here to win the World Cup. And it seems like they just have everything under control. Everyone's roles in the team is defined. They know what they're doing. They know what is expected from them. And I couldn't be more happier. And I think one other thing I wanted to mention before we move on to any other matches was that the reason why this India win was so important and was like extra special is that many people won't know this, and this will come as a big shock to a lot of our friends and family.
That's true.
Was that me and you did not watch the 2017 Champions Trophy final against India?
We did not. No,
we did not watch that match, that historic match, that once in a generation match.
For 3 days after the game, like the game aired, and then for 3 days we didn't see, we saw the scorecard, but we didn't see the game until 3 days later because you and me were in Itikaf. It was Ramzan time.
It was the last 10 days.
Last 10 days. So we did Itikaf for the last 10 days. And you can't watch cricket during Itikaf because you're there to pray. And we did. And we prayed for the win for Pakistan. And I remember the morning we woke up, it was like you and me were just buzzing because we were like, how are we missing this game right now?
I watched the highlights of that match in my game at least 3 times. And in none of the scenarios could I have ever seen Pakistan win by that margin. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's the same feeling I had when I watched this game today. Like, obviously that was a final and that was a bigger deal, but beating India in the World Cup is the first time that's ever happened. And
history was made. And
because we weren't present for that, I still feel like the sacrifice that you and I made, because we're such huge cricket fans, that's on us.
Sacrifice our own life for Pakistan.
We did. We basically kind of did. And look at us now, like 2017 to now, we have our own podcast. People are listening in. We live stream this game and it's great. Like, you know,
it really is. And
it's awesome.
I couldn't be happier. I think that win, that missing that Champions Trophy final, that missing, I hear people talk about that 1 minute between when Azar Ali dropped Kohli's catch versus when Shadab took it the next ball.
Yes.
That pure joy and ecstasy in that moment, I can only, ask my friends.
I mean, even when we saw the highlights, we were like, no way did this actually happen.
Yeah.
And then Fakhar Zaman getting bowled out, and then that was a no ball, and then him going on to hit a century. Like, that's just, these are things that you write up in your dreams. And I feel like that's what we conjured up, and it kind of came true, and it manifested itself on the field. So you're right. This is a special win for us just because we missed out on that first one.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to the other games, which were also very, very high octane.
Yeah.
The Pakistan-New Zealand game, Haris Rauf with 4 wickets.
Haris Rauf, man, what a story.
Do you want to talk about that?
What a story, Haris Rauf.
In the notes you wrote, my prediction from our second pod episode. And before you talk about it, I'm going to, in editing, by the magic of editing, I will play what you said about Haris Rauf right now.
Yes, and this was in the second episode of the podcast. This was, I think, December or November of 2018.
Yep.
And this is what I said.
And there's also like this season as well, the few emerging players that have been picked. they have a lot of potential. Like Haris Rauf,
the guy you just showed me
the guy who I just showed you. He
from Lahore,
from Pindi.
from Pindi. Oh,
From
yeah,
Pindi.
yeah.
He initially started out off as a table player, and then he went to the Lahore Calendar tryouts.
Yeah,
And there he clocked 148 kilometers.
yeah, that guy was fast.
He's the fastest
and
bowler.
he has a very slingy action as well.
It's kind of like Jasprit Bumrah. He's a short runner, but
yeah.
काफी जोर लगाता है shoulder की back की.
Bhai, like the commentator was like, he's a toe crusher, and that's exactly what he was. 145, 148, but he was swinging it consistently. That last over that he bowled, but he had to defend 19 runs.
Yeah, so we're basically talking about the Abu Dhabi Cup that happened recently. You can even YouTube his Haris Rauf.
We'll leave a link in the thing down below. And but yeah, you guys, you should check him out. This guy was quick, man.
Quick.
I don't want to face him.
Right now he's playing like Shield cricket in Australia.
Oh wow!
So he's growing as a cricketer as well, from a very humble background.
What team took him?
Lahore Qalandars. They basically
in the Australian.
I'm not sure.
This is not BBL.
This is not the Big Bash. No.
Okay. No. This is like their own county.
But right now he's under the wing of Aqib Javed and Shoaib Akhtar. And so I'm looking forward to watching him in the next PSL. And I think he's going to play for Pakistan within the next year or so. That's what I think.
Not after the World Cup.
Probably, yeah. T20s mein, he can come.
Yeah.
ODIs mein, it's going to be hard to make his place. But I think he's currently one of the fastest bowlers at Pakistan.
And I think it's absolutely insane to hear back what I said, because I think I predicted that this guy is going to play for Pakistan within the next year and a half.
Yeah.
And when we did this podcast, Haris Rauf did not even play a single game of the PSL.
Yes.
Right?
This was 2018, right?
This is 2018.
This was before we even had video in our podcast.
Yes.
This is one of the first ones.
2019, he played the PSL. 2020, he went to the Big Bash, and that's where things changed for him.
Yeah. People in Pakistan put him on the radar, because before that, he was just like a really quick, he was a Mohammad Sami type where like, yeah, he's quick, but can he hit the target twice in an over? Right? There was a meme going on in the Squid Games meme, where it was like, your challenge is to hit this 2 times back to back, and Haris Rauf was just panicking, and that was basically his repertoire. People just thought he was quick, but he didn't have any control.
Yeah, but I mean, when I saw Haris Rauf, the first time that I really saw him in his element was 2018. It was the Abu Dhabi Cup, and he bowled the penultimate over for the Lahore Qalandars. And he defended like I think 12 or 14, and he bowled some like straight Yorkers at pace. Like one ball was like 148 kilometers.
Jeez.
And that's when I was like, this guy has all the ingredients to play for Pakistan. He has pace, he has aggression, he has accuracy to some extent. And if you really work on his body and his fitness, he has at least 4 to 5 more Ks in him that he can bowl fast.
Yeah.
And just last week, he recorded the fastest ball of the World Cup, which was 153 kilometers. And
that's express.
I still feel like he can crank it up a couple more kilometers. But I'm just so happy for him, because we used to be tape ball players, not professional, but we used to play tape ball. And to see somebody like Haris Rauf come up the ranks from literally nowhere, he used to play professional tape ball cricket in Pakistan, and absolutely randomly went for the trials for Lahore Qalandars, got picked. He clocked 92.3 miles an hour on the speed gun.
Jeez, imagine playing him in tape ball cricket. Like you're such an amateur in tape ball.
Bullets.
And this guy, you can't even see this guy.
Bullets.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I would never want to face him in tape ball, let alone hardball. But like, how satisfied were you with the performance with New Zealand? Because when we beat India, it was like, okay, even though it was convincing, it was a 10-wicket win. It's as convincing as you can get. You didn't lose a single wicket. Like you didn't fail once. People still had their doubts. Like, okay, maybe they're a bit cocky. Let's see how they do with New Zealand.
It was a fluke. It was a one-off
Maybe it was
day.
a fluke. Yeah, people were saying that. It wasn't a fluke.
It was not a fluke. And I think...
how satisfied were you by that performance? Because I was losing my mind.
To be honest, I feel like the boys were more pumped for the New Zealand match versus the India one.
I feel like them ditching last minute as last minute as it could be kind of struck a chord, and everybody like united under that one banner. And like even though social media was kind of memeing it all, but there has to be some truth to it. I feel like they were a bit cheesed.
Yeah, they were. And even though it wasn't the cricketers' fault, they don't make those sort of calls.
Yeah.
But there was still that inner angst that they wanted to take out. And you could clearly see that in the pace that they were bowling with. The commitment that they had on field.
Yeah.
And I was just really glad to see that sort of performance. I think it was a nail-biting match. Haris Rauf balled really great. Everybody played their part. Hafiz against the left-handers, Imad Wasimi, economical, Shaheen bowling really well in the death.
That was the game that we first saw Asif Ali.
Asif Ali.
Do you want to talk about that? So two people that you were rooting for very, very hard before the World Cup started, Asif Ali and Haris Rauf. And those two people I had my huge suspicions and doubts over. And I was proven wrong and you were proven right. And do you want to take a moment and gloat and be like, I told you so? / how proud are you from their performances? Because those were like iconic.
Yeah. I mean, like the reason why I was hyping those two guys up was not just because I have some sort of like vision from the future. No, it's just stats, right?
You don't have like a That's a Raven thing going on?
Stats prove that Haris Rauf is an incredible death bowler.
You're spending too much time on Nazar's Twitter, bro.
I do. And stats also prove that Asif Ali is one of the best hitters in modern cricket in Pakistan. Yeah. He has the most sixes in PSL history. He has one of the highest strike rates, 164 in PSL history. So, I mean, he's doing something right. I think he is a clean hitter. And he is one of the only players who can hit sixes at will.
Yeah.
And, you know, players like him, maybe his international stats don't back it up yet because you have to also look at where he's batting. Yeah, he averages 16 with a strike rate of 123. But you have to see that he's batting in the last 3-4 overs where he has to go after the ball.
Yeah.
So sometimes it will pay off, sometimes it will not. And I'm really glad that they backed him up. A lot of it was from Misbah and then continued on by Babar Azam.
And he finally proved it. You know what? There was this video going on Twitter after we won that game of Dean Jones, right? And I wanted to give a second and talk about that because that guy backed him up as well.
Yeah.
And there was a video of Dean Jones feeling very, very emotional and sentimental about Asif Ali's daughter who passed. And I think Dean Jones would have been hugely, hugely impressed and hugely proud. Like, I don't think he was one of those people who knew exactly what was up with Asif Ali, and you know, rest in peace, Dean Jones.
Yeah, Dino was really invested in Pakistan cricket.
Oh yeah,
he was associated with Islamabad United, and Karachi Kings as well. And I think he was a phenomenal coach and even a phenomenal ODI batter. Playing cricket that is being played now back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So
that's Dean Jones though. I saw that video and it kind of, you know, made me think about that. But yeah, you were talking about Asif Ali being phenomenal, and he proved it not only in that game, but properly in the game after that.
Yeah, I mean, wow, man, what a game. That was
the Afghanistan game. I have the notes here. You only have 2 points in that game. Two pointers for that game. Number 1, too close for comfort. And number 2, in caps, Asif Ali.
As Ben Stokes tweeted, remember the name. 4 sixes in that last over. I don't think any Pakistani batsman has ever hit 4 sixes in a T20 match. This was the first match that Asif Ali did it.
I want to say, and I fact check me on this, I don't think any batsman has hit 4 sixes in an over after Shahid Afridi against Harbhajan Singh.
No, it's happened.
Who hit it?
Pollard has hit 6.
Pakistani batsman?
Pakistani batsman? No.
Since Afridi hit 4 sixes to Harbhajan. In 2005 test in Karachi.
I doubt it. I really doubt it.
I don't think it's happened.
I really doubt it. Yeah.
I think 3's happened. I think Hafiz has probably hit 3. I don't think anyone's hit 4.
Sarfaraz hit JP Dumini for 3 sixes.
There we go. Yeah, I remember that. That was also in Pakistan, right?
Sorry, that was me impersonating Wasim Akram. He was commentating those sixes, and randomly in the middle, he goes like, "Shawn yaar." It's like, I beg your pardon. That was a really good shot by Sarfaraz.
Where did that come from? Yo, I'm not gonna lie. This Wahab Riaz, Waqar Yunus, Misbah, and Wasim Akram show, I'm living for it, bro. What is happening in that show? What is happening in that show?
Has 3-4 fingers.
That show is his own podcast, bro. Like, what is happening?
Like Joe Rogan stuff,
bro. That is Joe Rogan stuff. Like, it's all vibes. It's like, bro, we're not preparing anything. We're just let it happen.
It's going with the flow.
I love it. I love to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a shout out to Wasim Bhai for that.
But I think, yeah, Asif Ali, man, those sixes were so well. Like, okay, before even those sixes, the audacity to turn down a single to shut up.
Yeah, I love that. I tweeted out, I was like, I want the confidence that Asif Ali has to turn down that single from Shadab.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, wait, no. Next over, 4 sixes. Boom,
Like,
done.
Just by declining that single, do you understand the level of confidence that he was at?
Yeah.
Like, he knew it was a small boundary. He knew the baller that was on. His stats are even more amazing against pace bowlers. And he knew there was going to be a pacer bowling.
Yeah.
And he literally lined this guy up.
Yeah.
And like, it's not even like he's a one-dimensional player. He hit him for covers on the six on covers.
Yeah.
Straight, mid-wicket, and then straight again, and covers again.
Yeah.
So I think he's doing a great job. At the same time, I feel like you cannot rely on Asif Ali in every single match. And
That's true.
This is the point of concern that I want to bring up before we head into the semis. Because Asif Ali is a hitter, right? You know, if you try to hit a ball, sometimes you middle it, sometimes you don't. Oftentimes you don't.
Yeah.
And if he didn't hit those sixes against Afghanistan, we needed 24 out of 12 balls. Who is going to come down the order and make those runs? So I think our top order and our middle order need to ensure that the game does not go that deep.
Yeah.
As much as you want to see Asif Ali sixes, you want to avoid those scenarios.
Very, very true. That's true. And
you don't want to be over reliant on Asif Ali.
Yeah, because Asif Ali, he may have won you 2 games back to back from the bottom, but you don't want it to go that deep because then it cuts too close to the bone. Has anyone ever won man of the match for only playing 7 balls? Has that ever happened before? Because I'd be very curious to see if that ever happened.
That's the
least amount of balls,
an
right?
all-rounder.
7 balls?
But
really?
I know this one player who got a man of the match just based off their fielding effort. Like, they took catches, they got a run out. I forgot that player's name, but it was the first time that only a fielder got a man of the match. So 7 balls. I think the impact that he's had. He's played, I think, 17 balls this tournament.
Yeah.
He's hit 7 sixes.
Yeah.
And incredible strike rate. 51 runs on 17 balls.
And the last game against Namibia was just a belter.
Just a walk in the park.
The walk in the park. And Namibia did a good fight. I'm glad that Pakistan had the wherewithal to be like, you know what, was that video of them in the dressing room before the game or after? I feel like it was after, right?
Which video?
There's a video of Pakistan team going into the Namibian dressing room and like wishing them well.
Yeah, that was after the match. Yeah.
Like, that's just the positivity that I like to see, right?
Good vibes.
It's good vibes. Like, Pakistan is so confident, like an older brother in this tournament almost. And it's just really good to see. I never thought we'd be in a position where we'd be basically like, hey, you guys did good, man. Like, cheers. And it's just good to see Pakistan rising like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You were saying about the Namibian game.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, looking forward to the semis. I think it's going to take some performance to beat Pakistan. It looks like it's going to be either Australia or South Africa. I would prefer to play Australia.
Really? You think South Africa is stronger than Australia?
I just think they have better spinners. I think they have a better batting lineup, a better pace attack, even though Australia has Stark, Cummins, and Hazelwood.
Yeah.
They're only good when the conditions are favorable to seam bowlers, whereas Rabada and Nortje, these guys are good in every condition. They can reverse the ball, they can swing it up front, and they also have the number 1 T20 bowler, who is Tabraiz Shamsi.
Yeah.
So given those factors, I would prefer to play Australia.
Wait, Rashid Khan's not the number 1 T20 bowler?
Who?
Rashid Khan.
No.
It's Tabraiz Shamsi?
It's
the
Tabraiz
spinner,
Shamsi,
right?
the
lefty
left
spinner?
arm Chinaman.
Oh, bro. That guy scares me.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. And then also Keshav Maharaj, he's a good bowler. And then they have a pretty destructive batting lineup as well. De Kock, Aiden Markram, Bavuma is good. David Miller, middle of the killer.
Yeah.
He's a good finisher. So I think regardless of who comes, it's going to be difficult to beat Pakistan. Like, they're really going to need to have an off day, which I'm hoping does not happen in the semis or the finals.
Let's assume that Pakistan beats Scotland, right? There's a high probability of that happening. If Pakistan win this World Cup, will this be the first time? Probably will be, but this will be the first time any team has won a World Cup undefeated.
No.
In T20s.
In T20s, yes, it's possible.
Because I know Australia won 2003 undefeated.
Australia won
3 straight World Cups undefeated?
7, 2003 and 7 undefeated.
3-7
They had a
undefeated.
33 match undefeated streak.
That Pakistan
And
broke
Pakistan broke that
in
2011.
2015.
2011.
In 2011, yeah, we sandwiched them because we beat them in 1999, and then we beat them in 2011.
Yeah.
That's
Umar
true.
was man of the match. He scored 46. He's our neighbor now. He's in the US.
Oh my lord. Omar Akmal. Okay. I wanted to end this on a positive. So let's just say that if Pakistan win this World Cup, and the Scotland game hasn't happened at this point at the time of this filming, let's just assume that they win that game and then they win the World Cup. This will be the first time Pakistan has ever won, or any team in the T20s has ever won undefeated. That's a big deal.
That's a massive deal. It's
That's
going to
huge.
be, but I think we're getting a bit
Ahead of
too
ourselves?
ahead of ourselves. I think
Last thing before we leave, though, what are the chances of India making the semis? By the way,
I think it's unlikely. It's really difficult because one of the main factors that you need to consider is
net run
New
rate.
Zealand
Oh, New Zealand.
losing against Afghanistan, which is unlikely, especially after their last.
So if New Zealand
performance.
beats Afghanistan, it's basically game over for
It's
India.
basically game over. And then even if India plays against Scotland and Namibia, they need to bat first and they need to score tons of runs, then get them out and beat them by a huge margin. So it's a bit tricky situation. But my main point is that New Zealand will not and should not lose against Afghanistan, especially after their last performance, which I'm not starting any conspiracies, but their performance was questionable.
The Afghanistan performance
just on
against
cricketing like terms, like the decision that they made, the fielding, the effort that they made, it was just why. A lot of whys.
Lots of whys. Lots of decisions, lots of question marks on captaincy as well. Like, why would you do that? Why would you go with that?
Yeah. Like, why would you, win the toss and ball first when you were batting first last 3 games? And even if you ball first, why are you getting 2 spinners to attack? Why is Nabi, your frontline bowler, only bowling 1 over? Why is Kareem Jannat, who took a wicket at Rohit Sharma, only
Why are you
bowling 1
feeling
over?
like that, bro?
A lot of questions, but you know what? As a Pakistan supporter, that doesn't bother me because we're in the semis. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah. That's a good positive way to end this. They can do whatever the hell they want. We're locked in the semis, first spot. Looking like a Pakistan-England final.
Quite possibly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And with that, I hope we give our best wishes to the Pakistan cricket team. This has been a great World Cup, a great couple of weeks for Pakistan fans, Pakistan cricket fans. We will, if Pakistan make it to the final, we will be live streaming that final because unfortunately, only 2 games happen on the weekend for us. The Pakistan-India game and the Pakistan-Scotland game, which we probably won't be streaming.
Yeah.
But if Pakistan make it to the finals, which is a Sunday, we will 100% be streaming that game. Check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Check my brother out here on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook as well. Everything is in the bio and the description below. Anything you want to say before we head out?
No, I think the next time they run the podcast, we'll probably know, maybe if not the result of the tournament, but where Pakistan's headed. And I just want to say that I'm so proud of the boys of how they've played cricket so far.
Agreed.
I've been, I've never been more proud getting behind this bunch of players. And as being a Pakistan cricket fan has more days that are sad than happy. But it's for days when you beat India, when you beat New Zealand and Afghanistan, that you go undefeated for 4 games, that it all pays off. So I wouldn't trade it for the world.
100%. You only support your team. If you support your team in the down times, it's more fun when they're winning and you get to ride that wave. With that positive message, I think we're going to head out. This is Nazar signing out.
This is Bashaar signing out.
And like and subscribe, guys, and let us know if you guys have anything to add, anything to contribute to the conversation. We would love to hear from you guys. DM us privately on the podcast, leave a comment below, and see you on the other side.